Peace, 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 everyone. Islam. Islam, just waiting for some more to come in. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here. I pray that your week so far has been a prosperous and successful week. Islam. We're going to be going over what is a pecuniary, a not for pecuniary profit corporation. Originally, we was going to go over
playing from 5CCB:99:D4:4C:0C.
All right, let me turn Alexa off. Because she gets nosy. She be trying to be in all the business. So, originally, last week I said that the topic was to be ask your Sunday school teacher what is the estate for the Moorish Temple of America. I'm going to go over that next week. And the reason why is because someone made a couple comments on a post that I've made on Facebook this week. And so I wanted to go over the comments so that we can clear up a lot of the incorrection that we've been told, because that's exactly what we've been told, not taught, but told for the majority of us. When you're taught, even if it is falsehood, you still would go and study. But instead of studying and researching for ourselves, we just take information as it is, and we don't question it. We don't ask questions. We don't think about, well, maybe I should ask questions. Maybe I should look at what is being said. Islam sister, Islam brother Arnil Bey. All right. For anyone who has any comments, when I open up the calls, you can call me at 877-808-2477, extension 101. If you have any questions or would like to make any comments, anyone who would like to make donations, you can do so at my Cash App. Cash App is $ Crystal Glover Ill. All right. And then before we get into it, we want to definitely shout out our sponsor. Our sponsor is More Hemp World. You can go to www.morehemp.world and you can order. Currently, right now, we have a Black Friday sale that is going on. So I believe it's 10%. I believe it's 10% that you get off. I will have to go back and look again, but you can use my code that's in the description so that you can get you can save on your Black Friday shopping. I'm trying to figure out how to add trying to figure out how to add
Gotta be a scholar for that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm working on this whole I'm really working on this YouTube platform, getting used to it. The most that I normally would do from YouTube is really just play it, watch it, play it. But, like when you use StreamYard allows you to integrate different platforms. So what I'm doing is I am working on uh, trying to work on all of the platforms at the same time. Islam. Islam, gratitude for all of those who are coming on. Everyone in the chat, all the viewers. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. All right. So I got to share my screen. So we're going to go in and look at what is a not for pecuniary profit corporation, right? Because someone vocalized, or I should say, they initiated something saying that the articles of incorporation for Moorish Temple of America, its certificate of that would have been like a certificate of good standing, is normally what the Secretary of State will issue. But the certificate that they posted, it said certificate not for pecuniary profit corporation. And I remember several years ago learning about a pecuniary profit and a not for pecuniary profit corporation. And it actually was this book right here. I hope everyone can see this book. This book right here was the book that actually helped me to realize what the prophet actually did as far as the articles of incorporation goes. And it had everything laid out, and it was right there. Like I had this, the thing about it is I actually had this book since 2010. Big up to the brother Asir the Duke of Tears, because he was the one who made suggestions to get this book many, many years ago. And it probably wasn't until 2017, 2018, when I actually realized that in this book it said not for pecuniary profit corporation. And it threw me off because I said, according to what the prophet incorporated, when it comes to the Moorish Science Temple of America, it was under the Religious Corporation Act. So it was a religious corporation, not for pecuniary profit corporation. So I began to go and I began to research and I began to study, and long and behold, my studies brought me to an unveiling of what was really going on and what had occurred. And I understand now why. I really understand now why those who were on our same side did what they did to the prophet, did what they did to the movement. And I'm going to be unveiling that and showing that later on, as I come on here on Tuesdays and just provide everyone with just information that I have learned, I have studied, I have researched, right? And it's helped me to get a better understanding and get more of a clarification of really what Moorish Science Temple of America is and what we should be doing today, right? And the reason why a lot of what should be going on is not going on is because of the mental illness, right? The mental illnesses of the Moors that we see for the majority of the time is really, it's called the Negro problem, aka the poverty problem, or the poverty issue, right? Because if the majority of us spent more time in regulating our family's estate, right, at making sure that our trust is being taken care of, running your own family thrift, making sure that your family's court is issuing out and receiving orders, and all these different things. If we spent more time in doing that, then we would not see the Negro problem in the height that it is today amongst Moorish Americans. But because for the majority of us, we don't do anything all day but social media. And for those of us who actually are working, a lot of times we're working is still working in social media. And however, for most of us, it's not working social media to promote or advertise. It's just to just talk. It's just to be seen. That is the attention economy that we're living in today. And for many of us, we will go any height, any extent whatsoever just to be seen, just to be heard. And that is a mental illness, to always want to be seen and to always want to be heard, right? We know that in our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we learn that it's best for us to be quiet, to be silent, right? When we look at statues and pictures of the Buddha, the prophet, the Buddha, we normally see him in a meditative state, in quietness and silence. Because when you're in your quiet state, when you're in your silence, that's when you're actually working out your life sums. You're not working out your life sums, arguing or creating schisms and isms because of your Islamism that you want everyone to follow and obey. And if no one follows and if no one obeys what you're saying and what you're doing, then everyone is wrong. Everyone is a scam artist. Everyone doesn't know what the prophet has done. I look at the older Moors and I learn a lot from them. I literally learn a lot from the older Moors. I take bits and pieces from this one and that one and that one and that one. and I put it all together so that I can get my own understanding, so I can utilize it for the benefit, right, of my everyday life, because that's exactly what the call was that Prophet Noble Ali gave out. He said, "Come, all ye Asiatics, and if you think your conditions can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America." He told us to come and learn about our forefathers, foremothers' divine creed and principles. Learn about ourselves. Learn about the missing 18 years of the life of Jesus, Islam. So I'm going to get into what the brother had put up the other day on my Facebook post, because again, like I said, I was just really taken back because I hadn't seen that in a really, really long time, and I actually have forgot a lot about it. I forgot a lot about it, but he reminded me of it. So we're going to get into it again. Tonight's topic is what is a not for pecuniary profit corporation? All right. What is a not for pecuniary profit corporation? All right, let's get into it. The opposite of pecuniary. The opposite, and I just got these definitions from Merriam-Webster.com. I didn't go and get any etymology. If you want to go and you want to study and learn the etymology, if you want to go into different dictionaries, different law dictionaries and things of that nature, you can do that on your own. I just went directly to Google and I just Googled pecuniary, and it gave me the definitions. And one of the first options was Merriam-Webster, and that's what I went with. So it reads, consisting of or measured in money, of or relating to money. Pecuniary first appeared in English in the early 16th century and comes from the Latin word pecunia, which means money, right? So if this is the definition of pecuniary, then the opposite of the definition, which would be not for pecuniary profit, would mean not for money corporation, also known as a not for profit corporation in today's terms. All right, let's get to it. Who did this? Who did this? Now, this is what the brother had put up when he made a comment on my post the other day. So I'm going to pull it up on the PDF because I got it on PDF so we can see it much larger and see if we can see it just a little bit clearer than what it is coming through on here through the PowerPoint. So I'm going to pull it up, change this screen. All right, here it is. My allergies, man, I'm telling y'all, I've never had to deal with allergies in November, December. This is the first year, so I don't know what these folks. Yeah, I don't know what these folks got going on.
Welcome to Little Egypt.
I can't even say it's Little Egypt at this time. All right. Let me see if I can highlight this a little bit. So this right here, this is what I'm speaking about. I need to get me a mouse. I just got this laptop last month, so I need to get a mouse to attach it to, a wireless one. So what I just highlighted at the very top of the left-hand corner says, it's very blurry, but it says certificate for corporation, not for pecuniary profit. All right. And then we see here, state of Illinois, Cook County, Lewis L. Emerson, Secretary of State. It says Drew Allen, Lomax Bay, Johnny Reynolds, Eddie, what's that? Eddie Watts, Sammy Rucker, right? Citizens of the United States proposed to form a corporation under an act of the General Assembly of the state of Illinois entitled An Act Concerning Corporations, approved April 18th, 1872, and all acts mandatory thereof, and for the purpose of such organization, we hereby state as follows, to wit, the name of the corporation is Moorish Science Temple. No, parts of Moorish Temple of Science. So, and this was November 29th, 1927, 1926. 1926. So when I seen this at first, I said, well, this is something I need to speak about. I really need to really speak about this, and we can go over this together on Tuesday. Because for some reason, Moors believe that this is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali did, even though it doesn't have Prophet Noble Drew Ali's name on it. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even have a ill or a bay on it. Let's get into it. Now, this is what I got from the book, The Negro, the Black, the Moor, by Brother Ramani Aminu L. Those are the Moors in Baltimore. And right here, this is the same articles of incorporation. The same articles of incorporation. And the picture of what he showed, this is it right here. All right, and it says the name of the corporation is Moorish Temple of Science. Then it says the object for which it is formed, to uplift fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make men and women better citizens, right? Then it goes on and it talks about the Moorish Temple of Science, and the following persons are hereby elected as the directors to control and manage said corporation for the first year of its corporate existence. All right, and then it has a list. It says Drew Allen, James Lomax, Johnny Reynolds, Eddie Watts, and Sammy Rucker. The location is in the city of Chicago. Then it has the address of the home office address, right? And then down here, it has the signatures of all the co-incorporators. These are all co-incorporators. Now, when I first seen this, I didn't think anything about it, right? I just like, oh, okay, yeah, this is, I'm just going off of what I was taught. No, I'm just going off of what I was told. What I was told was, this was the prophet did this in Springfield. Filed this in Springfield, Illinois, and then after he filed it in Springfield, Illinois, then he updated it in July 20th, 1928 in Cook County, Illinois, in Chicago with the religious affidavit. So I'm just going off of this for years. I'm just listening to this. I'm just following. I'm just listening to this. And then one day, I was reading this book and I saw it. I was just studying the pictures. And as I was studying these pictures, right, I noticed that on one, because I already knew that this was the one of the names, right, that it used to go by, which is Moorish Temple. Let me see. Hope everybody can see that. Moorish Temple of Science, right? So I already knew that. But what really dawned on me was, and I already knew this, to uplift fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make men and women better citizens, right? I already knew that. And I knew that it was different from, let's see. I knew that it was different from this one right here. I already knew that because, right, this one says to propagate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America, to anoint, appoint, and consecrate missionaries of the prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America. Right? So I knew those differences. But when I began to study this one right here, I began to notice a little bit more differences. Like, I noticed that the prophet name was different.
Uh-oh. Somebody been duped.
I realized the prophet's name was different.
They say that's a typo.
Yeah. I asked a lot of sheiks. Now, I asked a lot of sheiks. A lot of sheiks. I asked, why do you think that it says Drew Allen, Allin, and not Drew Ali? And all of the sheiks came back and said the same thing to me. It's a typo. It's a typo. But then, because, I realized that none of these co-incorporators had Bay or ill behind their given names.
Uh-oh.
None of them. There's no Bay after Lomax, no Bay or ill after Reynolds, no Bay or ill after Watts, no Bay or ill after Rucker. And then I went back and I was like, well, who these people? I knew who James Lomax Bay was, but I didn't know who the other folks was, because see, I don't see them right here. Right? I see Noble Drew Ali, Millie Ill, Maul Bay, Lovett Bay, and Foreman Bay. So these are all different entities. These aren't the same people.
They not as one?
No, these aren't the same. These aren't the same people. Yeah, these are not the same people at all. Even to the point where we see here it says Noble Drew Ali, but when we went here, there's no Noble in front of Drew.
Uh-oh.
Now, we know that 1913 AD, Prophet Noble Drew Ali founded the Moorish Science Temple of America. And he was already going by the designation of Noble Drew Ali or Prophet Noble Drew Ali or Noble Drew Ali the Prophet or the Prophet or Noble Drew Ali. Right? These were all names that he was going by. So my second question to a lot of sheiks was, well, why is it that these folk don't have a L or a Bay after their given names? And I would just get raised eyebrows like, I never thought about that, is what I got. Never thought about it, never looked at that, is what I got. Right? Then when they would bring up, well, Drew Allen is a typo, I would say, well, then if it is a typo, then why do we have here Drew Allen in a signature form? Why would he sign Drew Allen if that's not who he is? Because he was signing previously as the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, right? When he would when he would do the warnings, even when he would write in his editorials, the Moorish Guide, like all these different things, he was signing his name, but it wasn't Drew Allen. Like, why would he sign Drew Allen if that's not his name? If his name is Ali, then why wouldn't he just write or why wouldn't he sign? Because I can understand the typo, but why wouldn't he sign Drew Ali? And then I began to look at, well, who was all a part of making this right here happen? Let's go to it. Who was the endorsers other than the co-incorporators? Who was the endorsers? And then I seen it. Claude Green. Claude Green. The same attorney. Claude Green. Islam. So Claude Green, when I looked at this, and then again, look at it again, and this is Claude Green's signature, because he even signed his name, right? Not only did he sign his name, but he signed the names of all the co-incorporators. So this is his signature. Drew Allen. I said, why would he put Drew Allen and not Drew Ali? that. Then right down here again, Claude D. Green. Then right here, my commission expires in 1931. Remember the prophet talking about it's the same ones on our side?
Wow.
Remember the prophet also speaking about the building up the temple on the backs of the snakes and the scorpions and, all of the evil, wicked ones who wanted the prophet's seat. I'm going to be really going in why they wanted the prophet's seat, man. When I started looking and realizing who the prophet was, I was just like, wow. And so what led me, what started me on this journey and really searching for it was this right here. This right here, this certificate. This certificate right here, I know it's kind of messed up, but let's see if we can turn it around some. Let's rotate it. There we go. The certificate, it reads, from what I can read, what I can see on it, it reads, corporations and associations, all societies, looks like corporate, hereafter, organization for pecuniary, not for pecuniary profit. So I said, what is a not for pecuniary profit corporation? Got me to thinking. Got my wheels turning. So I began to search and said, let me go to the Heard's Revised Statutes, because that's where we know the religious corporation is, right? And we know that chapter 32, according to the Heard's Revised Statutes, is the chapter for all corporations during the time of the prophet for the state of Illinois, right? This is where all corporations would incorporate, right? They would have to follow these instructions in chapter 32. All right. And we see right here, very early on, it says what? For pecuniary profit, right? And then we have the corporations not for pecuniary profit. So let me go down to section 29, chapter 32. Let's see, right? You see it. It says chapter, because I want everybody to be able to follow. This is the Heard's Revised Statutes. Okay. All right. So that we all understand where this is coming from. And this is chapter 32, corporations. And then these numbers underneath are sections. All right, so we're going to go down to section 29. Because I found it to be very, very, very interesting. Section 29, corporations not for pecuniary profit. How organized? 29. Societies, corporations, and associations not for pecuniary profit may be formed as here and after provided. Any 3 or more persons, citizens of the United States. So that made sense why it said citizens of the United States in here. Because at first I wasn't understanding. I'm like, why would the prophet say that we citizens of the United States and he didn't already told us that we are true American citizens? I just didn't understand why he would then change his mind and say that we citizens of the United States. That I didn't get that. But yeah, that was another inconsistency for me, because it said citizens. I'm like, that just didn't make any sense, because it didn't give any of that verbiage in the articles of association that's in chapter 32, section 36 of the Herds Revised Statutes. It doesn't mention any of that. It doesn't say anything about citizens or any of those things, right? Let's get to it. Because I don't want anybody thinking that I'm just making this up. See, it's Herds Revised Statutes. Herds Revised Statutes. And this is the certificate. Okay, this is the certificate. So it says, citizens of the United States who shall desire to associate themselves for any lawful purpose other than for pecuniary profit may make, sign, and acknowledge before any officer authorized to take acknowledgement of deeds in this state. So this made sense why we see Claude Green on here. Yeah, this made sense why we see Claude Green. See, let me get it to rotate again. So this is where we see Claude Green on here. All right. Because he is authorized. Remember, this is the attorney, the lawyer. He's authorized to take deeds, right? To acknowledge, to endorse deeds in the state of Illinois, right? He's an attorney. He knows what he's doing as an attorney. He's doing this on the behalf of this corporation named Moorish Temple of Science, not Moorish Science Temple of America, but Moorish Temple of Science. If you recall, the earlier organization that the prophet was functioning under was the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. But this says the Moorish Temple of Science. And we can go back and we can look at the earlier Holy Quran, because it was the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Islam. All right, so Claude Green, he's allowed to take and acknowledge deeds in this state and file in the office of the Secretary of State a certificate in writing. Islam. A certificate in writing in which shall be stated the name or title by which such corporation, society, or association shall be known in law. The particular business and objects for which it is formed. This is the reason why it says on number 2, the object for which it is formed is to uplift fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make men and women become better citizens. All right. And I even understand why Claude Green did this. I'm not going to talk about it tonight, but I even understand why he did this. And the reason why is because I live in Illinois and I study a lot of Illinois and how it was formed, and some of the things that had gone on, a lot of the things that was going on during the time of the prophet. Like, for instance, when the prophet actually incorporated Moorish Temple of America on July 20th, 1928, with this document right here, when he did this, what was going on in the city of Chicago was there was a teacher strike. So all of the teachers who was a part of the union was on a strike for more pay. So they wasn't even thinking about the prophet when he went down to Cook County and recorded this. It was a strike going on. That's all everybody was talking about. All right? Islam. So that's most likely why when it was ran, because whenever you form a corporation, you have to run it in the newspaper to give the public a chance to be able to either deny or agree by their acquiesce. All right. So that makes sense of why nobody said anything when this was ran in the newspaper, because the strike was going on. That's a much bigger story, and all eyes are going to be on the strike and not on Prophet Noble Ali, what he's doing down in Cook County. All right. Because this is before the this is before the parade. Okay. The parade was October 1928. This was in 1926. All right. A certificate in writing in which shall be stated the name or title by which such corporation, society, or association shall be known in law, the particular business and objects for which it is formed, the number of its trustees, directors, or managers, and the names of the trustees, directors, or managers selected for the first year of its existence. Ain't that what this said? I ain't making this stuff up. I wish I was, but unfortunately, I'm not making this stuff up, right? It said the following persons are hereby selected as directors to control and manage said corporation for the first year of its corporate existence. Right? Then it talks about the certificate of organization. The certificate is this certificate right here that says not for pecuniary profit. This is the certificate. All right, I'm going to get into that in a little bit, the certificate. Now, and that was November 1926. May of 1928, they changed the name. I want everybody to remember this word right here. This word right here. Remember this word. Special. All right. All right. So it says certified that as a special meeting of the members of the Moorish Temple of Science, Chicago, Illinois, held on the 2nd day of May, AD 1928 at 8 o'clock p.m. pursuant to the rules of said corporation, the following resolution was adopted. So what is what happens when a resolution is adopted? For all those who have taken the I Got Trust, who's a part of the I Got Trust issues, right? All those who are in there, all of those who are in our bookkeeping 102 series right now, and you're learning how to do amendments. This is what a resolution would be, right? When you do amendments. So this right here is the articles of incorporation. So for your trust in your state, you would have something similar to that, but it wouldn't be called articles of incorporation. It would be titled something different, but it's pretty much the same thing, to establish a entity, right? And then when you want to go and you want to make amendments, or you want to add attachments in a corporation, it would say the following resolution was adopted in accordance with the bylaws of said corporation. Now let's look at the bylaws. Now, why would the bylaws, because this is our divine constitution of bylaws, what in the bylaws would make Moorish Temple of Science change its name from Moorish Temple of Science to the new name that it adopted, right? And that would have been this right here. It would have been this right here. This is why they would have changed it. The name. Right? The name. That's what would have made it change from Moorish Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America. But hold on. We didn't get there yet. We're still working through this thing. So it says that it changed its name to the bylaws of the corporation, right? And it said the second of May of the day of May 1928, for the purpose of changing the name of the said corporation. Remember, I said change the name. Hereby make application to the Secretary of State of Illinois. Why are you making application to the Secretary of State of Illinois if you are forming a religious corporation? Now, a lot of people would say, well, it was a civic organization first. It was a civic organization. No, it was a nonprofit organization first. This is the Articles of Incorporation. That Prophet Noble Drew Ali, clearly we see that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is not on this. Again, Drew Allen, once again. Who is Drew Allen? Claude Green. Why are you doing this, Claude Green? Why are you trying to take the prophet's seat, Claude Green? Why are you trying to beat the prophet to incorporate in the incorporation before he did, Claude Green? to change the name of Moorish Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Moorish Science Temple of America. This was the name change that Claude Green did. In Whitehead Bay, because Whitehead Bay looked like he's signing. It looked like his signature when it say Drew Lynn. Like Whitehead Bay signature. Dirty. To change the name of Moorish Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, if it is a nonprofit corporation or a not for pecuniary profit corporation, which is the same thing, then why would a prophet have to change it to a religious corporation? That don't even make any sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. I'm going to show you why it makes no sense. Here's the certificate again. Another copy of the certificate. This is when they did the update. This is the update. When they did the name change. And then this right here. Now you see the name says what? The name on here says what? Now this is a different Secretary of State. This is in 75. But it says that this is a Secretary of State of the state of Illinois do hereby certify that the following in here two attachments, a true, photostatic copy of the certificate of incorporation for Moorish Temple of Science and certificate of amendment, change your name to what? The Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, remember that it says the at the beginning, okay? Because that is the entire name. This is the entire name of the corporation. The Moorish Science Temple of America. This is the entire name of the incorporation. Just like the United States of America. That's different from United States of America. That's different from United States. That's different from U.S. I mean, these are all different variations. It's all different types of entities. And they're constantly telling you that it's different. By what? It's articles. It's articles is showing you. It's articles of incorporation. It's articles of association. It's articles within the articles that is adopted within the from the acts of the and that's codified in the statutes. They're not making anything up. When you hear people say, oh, the United States is not the same thing as United States of America, that's not something made up. You can see where the name changes are coming in. They're coming in with the acts that are being passed through Congress. And it's being codified in Islam. So right here, again, we see that it's changed the name from Moorish Temple of Science to the Moorish Science Temple of America. But again, we go back here. This right here the picture that the brother put up, it says the name of each corporation is Moorish Temple of Science. Of not each, but of such corporation is Moorish Temple of Science, right? This was, again, November 29, 1926. So we know that they changed the name. Now the name is the Moorish Science Temple of America on May the 2nd, 1928. But then, right after that, you got July 20th, 1928. And everybody's name is different. And this is done in Cook County. And there's no certificate. And it's Drew Ali, not Drew Allen. Claude Green. It said Claude is about the green. Islam, brother. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Islam. All right, so let's look at something that I found. Right, something that I found is about that word special. Remember I said to remember that word special? Let's see where it's at. It's like, what is so special about this meeting? And what's so special about not for pecuniary profit corporations? Let's get to the specialness of it. I want to be special too. Oh yeah, just to make sure that everybody understands what pecuniary means in Hindi, right? Because we're multilingual. In Hindi, it means the same thing, relating to or involving money. It didn't change because the language changed. So let's get to it. Special charter. Let's see. Business organizations, 805 ILCS 125. So this is today's version of chapter Hertz Revised Statutes, chapter 32, section 29, right? Because back then they didn't have the 805, they didn't have the Illinois compiled statutes. That's what the ILCS means. Illinois compiled statutes. So the 805 ILCS 125. So again, this is still 805, right? ILCS, but the section is 125. Right? This act may be cited as a special charter, not-for-profit corporations act. Because that's where the charter came from. The charter came from the Secretary of State. Or did it? We're going to see. Section 1. All corporations, associations, and societies organized under or created by any special act of the legislator, not for pecuniary profit, are hereby vested with power to create boards of trustees, directors, right? And it has directors to manage, or managers, and to elect and appoint members thereof, either from their own membership or otherwise, in such manner, at such times, and for such periods as may be provided by the law, by the bylaws of such corporations, associations, or societies. Where the charter of any such corporation requires that the election of trustees shall have the consent, approval, and ratification of the religious denomination as specified therein, and such denomination shall have waived and relinquished such power of consent. So you're waiving and relinquishing your power and your consent, approval, and ratification of such election by the representatives mentioned in the charter. Then said corporation may elect such trustees without such consent, approval, and ratification of said religious denomination. And said board of trustees, directors, or managers shall have such powers and perform such duties as may be prescribed by the bylaws of such corporation, association, or societies, provided that whenever any such trustees, directors, or managers shall be elected or appointed, a certificate under the seal of the corporation, association, or society, giving the names of such trustees, directors, or managers so appointed or elected, and the term of their office shall be filed for record in the office of the corporation, may be carried on by such board of trustees, directors, and managers. Hereafter, whenever any corporation, association, or society, not for pecuniary profit, existing by virtue of any special law of the state, shall desire to avail itself of the right to amend its special charter so as to change its name, to change its place of business, to enlarge or change the object for which it was formed, to enlarge or change its powers in respect of owning, holding, or using real or personal property, or any other of its powers, to vest in a single governing body of trustees, directors, or managers, to corporate powers and other powers previously vested in two or more governing bodies, to provide the method of electing members of such governing body and their terms of office, to empower such governing body to elect a chairman and any other officers, and to appoint committees for its members thereto by the governing body, to recognize and give effect to change in the name of any religious denomination or organization with which such corporation, association, or society is affiliated, or to increase or decrease the number of its trustees, directors, or managers as now authorized, or may be hereafter be authorized by general law. I'm going to stop right here real quick, right? And I want to go on what this is saying. What this is saying is that the not for pecuniary profit corporation, when it's incorporated under 805 IOCS 125, or when it was incorporated under Hers Revised Statutes, Chapter 32, Section 29, not to be confused with Hers Revised Statutes, Chapter 32, Section 36, Islam, that means that it gets its authority from the Secretary of State of Illinois, who is the Secretary for Illinois, not the Secretary for the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is a non-profit corporation. So any of the Moorish Science Temple of Americas that's been doing business under this charter, this special charter that the prophet never even signed on to, the prophet's name is not on it. Even the name of the corporation. Let's see. See, because that name change is sometimes it's tricky because we don't really pay attention to detail a lot. But the name change said the Moorish Science Temple of America. Our authority says, I, Noble Drew Ali, do solemnly swear that at a meeting of the member of the, what's the name of the corporation? Moorish Science Temple of America. Not the Moorish Science Temple of America. It literally says Moorish Science Temple of America. I didn't create this. So you see how Claude Green and his homies was trying to really beat the prophet to incorporating Moorish Science Temple of America? And you see who was all a part of it? You got Brother Whitehead Bay, Brother Claude Green. These are all of the Moors that we can see on paper that's a part of the schisms. The schisms and the isms. Right? James Lomax, Johnny Reynolds, Eddie Watts, Sammy Rucker. All of them. All of them was a part of it. All right, let's get to these special charters. Woo! I was like, oh, wow. I learned a lot about these special charters. I was like, I wonder if the Moors know about the special charters. All right, so this is let's see, this is the 10th Jurisprudence Business Relations. This is the name of the book. And I didn't have time to actually go to the law library this week to look at the book and to study some more in the book. But when I get some time, I'm definitely going to be going to the law library. But it says, this is 3.7, special charter defined, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm capping out here. Special charter defined, contractual nature. So this is a contract. This Articles of Incorporation is a contract. Special charter, contractual nature. Under the General Not-for-Profit Corporation Act, special charter means the charter granted to a corporation created by special act of the legislature, whether or not the term charter or special charter is used in the special act. In addition, wherever in the special charter, not-for-profit corporations act, the word special charter are used, they will be construed to mean the special law of Illinois by virtue of which the corporation, association, or society exists, irrespective of whether or not in such special law such a charter is referred to as the charter or special charter of the corporation, association, or society. Such charter is a contract. So that means if you are under a special charter as a not-for-pecuniary profit corporation in the state of Illinois, you have created a contractual agreement with the state of Illinois. Period. Woo! Special law of Illinois by virtue of which the corporation, association, or society exists, irrespective of whether or not not in such special law such a charter is referred to as the charter or special charter of the corporation, association, or society. Such a charter is a contract. Thus, the legislature has only such power over the chartered institution as was reserved in that contract. Illustration. Where a university has a valid charter, the state, through the legislature, has no power to take from or inferior with the powers of the trustees of the university to make such rules as are necessary to conduct of the university's business. Thus, the state does not have visitorial power at the university. So the state can't just come and say, well, because you have a contract with us, we're just going to come to the university and we're going to do whatever we want to do at the university. It doesn't work that way. You have to go through legislation. So the legislation allows for the corporation to do business. But if the corporation goes outside of the business, the scope of the business, such as if it goes outside of what you're supposed to be doing under a nonprofit corporation. Like, for instance, nonprofit corporation, you can't, everybody, we already know this, you can't do what? You can't talk about politics. So I don't know why Moors that's under this articles of incorporation constantly are out here in the public talking about politics and political figures and telling Moors to go vote and telling Moors that they need to be a part of the voting process. They can actually use their non-for-profits, lose their non-for-profit status. It's no different from Moors that's not in a temple that's using the name of the Moorish Temple of America. You're still doing business in the name of the Moorish Temple of America, but now you're doing business and you're going outside of the contractual agreement of the business. Woo! And then the legislature Oh my goodness. In the state of Illinois, the legislature allows for these folk right here. These folk right here, these people, the Illinois State's Bar Association, they allow these folk to codify the legislation. Not only do they allow them to codify, but these are the folk that bring up the bills. So they create the bills to become law. Woo! This is a criminal enterprise. They create the bills to become law. Then they codify the law. So a lot of times what they do is the bill that's in the law is separate from what's actually even codified. They change it. They do this often. And it's allowed. Like nobody says anything. Just, yeah, go ahead and change it. It's okay. And then these are the same ones that's supposed to have attorney-client privilege with you in your legal matters. These are supposed to be the ones that's in your best interest. No, they're in the best interest of the state. This is how they have it set up. So Moors aren't lying when they say, well, you know, the attorney is really not there for your best interest. The attorney is there for the corporation. It's how they have it set up. We didn't create this. Nobody created this. The legislature created this. Whew. Let's get to this. Man. Islam. Yeah, brother. Not only brother Magnificent L, not only in the bed with the Secretary of State, but in the bed with the corporation itself. Because the prophet wasn't in the bed with the corporation. Let's look and see what the prophet did. The prophet did everything under his own religion. Because law is religion and religion is law. The prophet wasn't into any of this. Let's look and see what the prophet did, because we went over it.
You found green head and chair. What did he do?
He ain't do that. This stuff that they doing. He didn't do it. And on November 29th, 1926, he didn't do that on May 2nd, 1928. He didn't do that. They call those dirty Moors. I call them something else. But I'm going to behave. Let's see. Let's go back up here to... Whew. Let's get to the certificate. The certificate of organization. Record. This is a record. This is a record. You know, like from Allah's own record book, we read. This is a record. Upon filing a certificate as aforesaid, the Secretary of State shall thereupon issue a certificate of the organization of the corporation, society, or association, making a part thereof a copy of all papers filed in his office in and about the organization. See, this is how they was able to go in the 30s and start to allow the FBI to come in, because the Secretary of State is making a part thereof a copy of all papers filed in his office in and about the organization thereof. Not the organization that the prophet founded in 1913 AD. Not the organization that the prophet incorporated July 20th, 1928, but this garbage right here. This is garbage. And more should be ashamed still following this and knowing that they're following this. And is happy to follow this. And this ain't got nothing to do with Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Who is Drew Allen? Who is that? That ain't the prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Astaghfirullah. You think that Arabs would allow anyone to do anything like that to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Do you think Christians will allow anyone to do Prophet Jesus like that, peace be upon him? No! But we allow it to happen because we are man worshiping. We just love, I love my Grand Sheik so much. I just love him. Sick. The mental issues. The God complex. The man worship. And here it is, the man that put it in place for all of us so that we can actually be free. So we can actually live out love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in all of real life. We want to play temple. See. In and about the organization thereof, and duly authenticated under his hand and seal of the state. And the same shall be recorded in a book for that purpose, in the office of the recorder of deeds of the county in which the principal place of business of such corporation, society, or association is located. Hold on. So what this is telling me is, once you receive the certificate, you're supposed to record it in the record of deeds of the principal place. So that would have been Chicago, right? Upon complying with the foregoing conditions, the corporation, society, or association shall be deemed fully organized and may proceed to business. So I want to give y'all an example of what never occurred, right? What never occurred because this right here, the certificate, that one, and then this one right here, these two certificates. So this is the original certificate for the Moorish Temple of Science, and then this one is the certificate for the Moorish Science Temple of America. None of these certificates had ever been recorded in Cook County when the prophet was here in physical form. So that meant, according to the Corporation Act for not for pecuniary profit, right? That meant that Moorish Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America was not fully organized to do business. And neither of those names. Whew. That's why the prophet wasn't doing name in none of these businesses. That's why his name is not on the articles of incorporation. Do you ever ask yourself why the prophet never did a annual recording? You know, like from that you get from convention. There was no annual recording in the Secretary of State for 1928 or 1927. Not one. Because these corporations, both Moorish Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America, the prophet had nothing to do with those. Those wasn't his corporations. He wasn't on them. These corporations actually was, if anybody was doing business under the names of these corporations, they could have went to jail. Because they weren't deemed fully organized. So if they wasn't deemed fully organized back then if you're doing business under this name today, how are you doing business under this name today? Because you're saying that you are this right here. You're saying that this is you. You're saying that you are the Moorish Science Temple of America all day, every day. You say that you are incorporated in your articles of incorporations with the Secretary of State of Illinois. So to the brother who put this up on my post, I hope you've learned what a certificate for corporation, not for pecuniary profit, is. I pray that you come to the understanding that the prophet had nothing to do with this. This is Drew Allen, whoever that was. Wars have been so dirty to try to beat the prophet to what he was divinely prepared to do. It's no different from when the cruel king put out an order, an edict, a decree to kill all of the male children to try to kill the prophet Jesus. It ain't no different. Tried to stop the prophet from doing this right here. Because this is his seal right here. Form 1099. That miscellaneous form. That legal form. right? The Chicago Legal News Co. I Noble Drew Ali. Wow. Wow. And you see, the prophet ain't used Claude Green as his notary public. Oh, no. He didn't use Claude Green. He used the European. Look at this. Down here. Nah, he won't use no Claude Green.
The European was happening. Why not you?
He said the European was helping him. Why not you? Islam. Indeed. So I asked last week for each and every one of you all to ask your Sunday school teachers what is the estate for the Moorish Science Temple of America. All right. And I didn't go over that tonight. I'm going to go over it next week. So you got another week to ask your Sunday school teacher, what is the estate of the Moorish Science Temple of America? All right. We got to really understand what it is that the prophet did, what the prophet left us, what the prophet did not do. Because it's a whole bunch of folly that's going on way too long. A whole lot of folly that's been going on way too long.
No work getting done.
Anytime you got your members trying to argue with me on my posts on social media, when I'm studying, I'm working, and you want to try to argue with me, I ain't going to argue with you. I'm going to keep coming Tuesday and keep putting out this information by the will of the great universal God Allah. Because it is past time that we wake up from the sleep and slumbering stage to get to the work. The work ain't us meeting on Fridays. That's not the work. The work ain't us, going to, and I like going to events with Moors, but the work ain't us going to balls and, having a good time, and all that is great. Going to picnics and all those different things, parties and luncheons and all that. That's not the work. The work ain't going to another. I told the Moors some years ago, when Moors want us to come out to their conferences and things of that nature. I told the Moors some years ago, and I told my husband, I said, look, when the Moors start talking about us actually creating a business together, Moors talk about us creating a business together that's going to be a national business, then call me. I'll be there for that. Other than that, I don't want to, I'm not going to come and be a part of no more any more conferences, any more conventions, any more of these symposiums, none of this stuff. Not doing it. Now, when Moors want to get on when we want to come together and create one national business that's going to benefit all of our society, then call me. I will be there. Other than that, I'm good on all of the unity talks. Nations unify out of necessity of their everyday needs. That's how nations unify. So let me give you an example. When the Christians was banging on the Moors and the Jews, guess what the Muslims and the Jews did? Came together out of necessity. They put aside their religious differences. They put aside their many years of fighting and killing one another. Over who owned and who had the rightful heirship. They did away with all that. They came together to bang on the Christians. That was out of necessity. So as a nation, we all have a necessity of food, clothing, and shelter, right? Each and every one of us. None of us can live without food, clothing, and shelter. So this is something that I created many years ago, the Noble Drew Ali Greenhouse Initiative, so that we can start to feed ourselves as an agrarian society. When Moors bring something like this, that's going to be able to fulfill one of our necessities, and they say let's bring it together, let's all work together, create a business for something like this. It ain't got to be this. It could be something that's going to house us. It could be something that's going to clothe us. It could be another, initiative that's going to feed us. Well, when Moors are ready to do that, then call me. But I'm not going to be a part of any of these unity rallies or anything like that. It leads to nowhere because it's not dealing with us nationally to take care of our necessities. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end here. I want to give a shout out to each and every one of you all who came through. Gratitude to all of those who are in the chat. Let me check out the chat. If anyone wanted to call in, if you had a question or a comment to make, you can do so. My number is 877-808-2477, extension 101.
Come on in, boys. Come on in.
Shout out to the moderators.
Come on in.
All right. Reminder, everyone, tomorrow we will have our Quran class. Begins at 7 p.m. Central. And following our Quran class, we have our 25 Families Initiative. Our 25 Families Initiative. And with the 25 families, let me bring that up. 25 Families Initiative. It's an addition to our 7 Steps to Success. So 7 Steps to Success is a group on our Moorish chat app on Mighty Networks. So you'll go through a year of progress. You'll go through your credit restoration process, set up your trust in your family's estate. You'll put your property, you'll get to the point where you can purchase property, and you'll learn about asset protection. All right. So this is the 25 Families Initiative. We are working on 25 families coming together and being the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? Not just talking about it, not just showing up for photo ops. Now I tell Moors all the time, I don't want to be in the photos. I really don't. I don't want to be in the photos. You know what happens when you're in the photos? From my experience, for the majority of all of our experience, you in these photos 1 year, the next year, following after that, y'all ain't even talk to each other no more. That's cap. If you got an issue with me and I got an issue with you, then we should be able to come together civilly.
That's right.
And speak it out and hash it out. Oh, I don't talk to that one no more. Like a bunch of children. I tell the Moors all the time, man, this is babysitting. This is like charity work. I'm volunteering. That's going to stop soon too. Inshallah. Islam. All right, Moors, we're going to get out of here. Again, we want to say gratitude to each and every one of you all who came on. If anyone would like to participate, definitely come through on Sundays. Oh man, on Sundays I'm dropping so many jewels. It was a question that a brother asked the past Sunday. He said, he asked me, he said, do you already know all of what you're teaching, or are you channeling? And for me, the majority of what I'm teaching, I do know, but a lot of times as I'm teaching, I may be reading something, I may be looking at something, and I'll just get a channel, I'll get a download, and I'm able to expound even more. That's the beauty of teaching for me. I'm teaching so that one day everyone that I'm teaching can teach me. I'm not teaching. I don't understand these temples where you got these leaders and they don't want to groom leaders, others to be leaders. They just want you all to follow them. Follow me. I'm the leader. I'm the head. Yeah, that's not me. That's never been me. Unless if it's my organization, it's my business, then I'm going to do whatever I want to do in my business, in my organization. But this business, I don't own Moorish Science Temple of America. I'm a part of it. I am one of the individuals that's a part of the individuum known as Moorish Science Temple of America. So I don't own it. I am a part of it. I'm a willing participant in Moorish Science Temple of America. And I believe that more leaders should look at it like that. If they did, then we would have a much larger turnaround when it comes to successful members. Did y'all know that that's what Islam calls for? Every time you make prayer, every time you make salah, it says, come to success, come to success. That's what Islam is saying, for us to come to success. That's it. every area of our lives. That's not just, your finances. That is every area in your life. All right. So I am praying that each and every one of you all, that everything attached to you all, it is successful. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
What is the topic tomorrow, Sunday? Quran class.
Quran class, we're going to be going and breaking down some of the chapters in Al Quran. We'll be going in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. We'll be going in the Bible. We'll be going in a couple other books, but I am really teaching on, currently right now, what I'm really teaching on is the science of happiness. The science of happiness. Matter of fact, it is in, let's see, Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jurali, by the guiding of his father, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Islam. Chapter 26. Chapter 26. Chapter of Unity. Holy instructions of unity. This is what I'm going to be teaching. The gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and He appointed to everyone his portion, and what measure seemeth good unto himself. Hath He endowed thee with wisdom? Hath He enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? Communicated to the ignorant for their instruction, communicated to the wise for thy own improvement. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubteth often, and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubteth not. He knoweth all things, but his own ignorance. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence and to pity their absurdity. Yet be not puffed up in thy own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humble. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation, but the fool peepeth in the shadow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. He bringeth them up and showeth them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren delighteth himself. He boasteth of attainments and things that are of no worth, but where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he hath no understanding. Even in the path of wisdom he toileth after folly, and shame and disappointment are the reward of his labor. But the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowneth with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue he accounteth at the highest learning. The science of happiness is the study of his life. And again, I've been teaching on the science of happiness, even with him attaining virtue of the accountant. This is about accounting. So in order for you to learn about accounting, you have to learn how to be accountable. I keep telling everybody the prophet was on commerce. I don't know what y'all been reading, but I see something different. Islam, praise Allah. So I enjoyed my time with you all. Again, gratitude to each and every one of you. I'm going to go ahead and end tonight. If anyone needs to get in contact with me, you can do so at 877-808-2477. My extension is 101. If anyone wants to send a Cash App donation, you can at $ Crystal Glover Ill. Oh yeah, you can send a donation at Crystal Glover Ill on the Cash App. Also, if anyone needs any legal services, like if you gotta go to court, call Maxim Enterprises LLC. We got that. We can assist you with that. It's going to be a fee because Maxim Enterprises LLC don't work for free. All right. So we can get that handled for you. We can get that done for you. If you don't want to learn how to create or establish properly your own trust and create your own family's estate, we can do that for you as well with the estate and trust planning. All right, we got a few more weeks with the Bookkeeping 102 series. We got about 3 to 4 more weeks. We'll be going over that. And then the next series is going to be a tax series, right? We're going to get into the tax laws. We're going to be getting into the tax publications so that everyone can be clear on how they want to move and, declaring or publicizing what is to be owed in taxes and what their estates are to receive in tax credits. So it's going to be a great class. I got a couple more that's already going through the tax publications. Yeah, we definitely need we definitely need it. We know that in Moorish Temple of America, we have a tax that we pay. We got an annual tax, got a per capita tax, right? Got a special tax. All right, but we ain't got a special charter. Not from the Secretary of State. No, we don't. Stop for a lie. We ain't got no special charter. No, sir. Prophet ain't bring that. That is not the divine will of the great universal God Allah. So we're going to get there. We're going to get right. We're going to get there one day, inshallah. I'm just here to provide the information and the knowledge of my own understanding. And if I'm incorrect, please, by all means, correct me. Because I'm not, it's not like I can't be corrected. I've been corrected a lot of times by Moors. I'll tell you Moors all the time. Don't let me just go out thinking I could just do whatever and act any type of way and be any side. No, don't let me do that just because I'm a grand sheikist. That's just the title. I'm only able to, make law and enforce law. That's it. Everything else, that's the grand body. Y'all should be standing on me, making sure that I'm doing what I need to do. If you really love me, then you're going to make sure that I am proper and I am squared at all times. Just let me do what I want to do because I'm the grand sheik. Astaghfirullah. Those days are over with. Islam. Peace and love. Right. All right. Remember, go to our sponsors. Our sponsor this evening is More Hemp World. That's morehemp.world. You can go to www.morehemp.world. Get your 10% off. We have a Black Friday. Yeah, we got a Black Friday sale going on. Our sponsor next week, we're going to have a different sponsor next week. So get your Black Friday sale on. All right. Peace and love, Muslims. Islam.